Hi there, and welcome back to another episode of Moving Through Fear. My name is Alan Ray Enriquez. For those who just visited this for the first time, welcome to this podcast. What I'm planning here is, where my podcast is aired initially, they have finally created a way wherein we could upload to a video format, and so it will be automatically converted to a an audio form for suitable for podcast. So that would be available for different podcast formats, like Spotify or Apple podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music at the same time. But anyway, shout out to Anchor.fm for this. This isn't a sponsored post, by the way, but welcome. So wait, um, it has been months since the last time that I updated this podcast because of several reasons, and the first one is the main purpose of this podcast was to um, create this feeling of being together with people. And before, um, back when it started in a different name of the podcast, I was talking about my mental health. And so back then, I think this started May of 2020. There you go. It's May 21, 2020. And it has been 2 years since I started the show. So just so you know, back in 2018, I was diagnosed. Um, yeah, I think it was 2018 or 2019. So 2018, I guess, when we had, you know, I had a retreat. It's called Soul Sessions. This was hosted by my co-teachers in Baguio, in Pranalaya. So shout out to the folks of Pranalaya Yoga and Wellness in Baguio City. And when we were sharing, I couldn't stop crying. And well, it was the right avenue, I guess, because I was a participant. But before that, I came in their studio, or in their faculty as a teacher for movement. And the owner, Jelly, asked me to teach, or yeah, teach about fascia. And we were checking in. It's a very good practice, by the way. If you have like a friend, it's like as if you're checking in with a friend, saying how are they doing, right? And while I was sharing, I several times I came off topic, and I was sharing my life and where I am currently, and couldn't stop crying. And that's the reason why I sought the medical and professional help of psychologists, psychiatrists from the Philippine Mental Health Association. So I checked in here at East Avenue. So they have the Philippine Mental Health Association, and I will be mentioning it for a couple of times, several times, for those of you who are first timers here. Um, and when I checked in, this is with a friend um, who thought that she's also so we thought that we needed help. Okay, we needed help because it wasn't helping us. So while there is instant relief, when you're crying, right? So there is the instant relief of when you cry because it's a kind of release, right? And it's a somatic experience, and that would be for another discussion. I think um, with my hibernation from doing podcasts, there's a lot of ideas being taken in or generated from my discussion. Anyway, um, so there, when we had checked, so we start with an assessment. The assessment would be in a written format. You can take it home, but it's an assignment, and so it would feel like you're back in school, so in high school or elementary, wherever whenever you graduated. But anyway, it is an assessment of your formative years, meaning to say from the moment that you had your cognition, the cognitive ability to, your abilities of cognition. And the next thing you know, that would be the basis. That would be your starting point. Uh, it would serve as our anchor of of where things have started, right? And for those of you who are not into sharing things with other people, that's the first step. When you are acknowledging that you need help, that's the first step of being self-aware, and that is why it's a good step, by the way. That's how I did it. And wait one moment. I keep playing with things that are right in front of me, and then anyway, so let it be. Alright. um, so that happened, and then from there, the from the counselors, they submitted the results to the psychologist. Yeah, so the ologists are the, let me confirm before we get mumbo jumbo here. Psych, yeah, psychologist. Me. Oh, there. Sorry, the psychiatrist rather. So the psychiatrist, the main psychiatrist in the Philippine Mental Health Association, did an initial CBT, or the cognitive behavioral therapy, to us, to my friend and I. And after which I was initially diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. Now, back then, um, the source of my PTSD, or the syn post traumatic stress um, disorder, um, came from an event recently. So that was back in 2005, when my dad and I were carjacked just 2 blocks away from where I live. But anyway, you can back read or listen to the first season of this podcast. I'm not sure if I even said it. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. I think it's about episode 3. So back then, the podcast is entitled Alan's Ray of Light. I changed it to Moving Through Fear. Just I think the turn of 2023, and the reason for it was, wait, let me check. Yeah, that was January 30 and of 2022. So 2 years after, um, still we are in the pandemic and we are just managing it. That's also a topic that should be discussed vigorously, I guess, from my viewpoint, because currently we are managing a pandemic. We are not yet out there. We are just managing it, and um, we are still looking for best practices, and what we're doing is just to manage it. Not really, it means that we have overcome it anyway. So that's the reason of the main reason, with me having this mental health, looking after myself. While I was away, so I was staying in Baguio for a while, back in 2018 until the end of 2021. Yeah. So November of 2021 when I physically removed all my things from where I stay in Baguio. Um, so there. And it's a good thing that I actually stay there because it grounded me. The place grounded me. Although I didn't learn any Ilocano, or their native language, or yeah. But anyway, the people there are genuinely nice. So the main topic of this discussion, of this episode, so it has been like what, 13 minutes of me bantering about the backstory of this podcast, given that the last episode was last July, and you're gonna see a lot of my um, small details of what I do, what I act, and how I create this podcast. Um, so right now I'm inside of my bedroom slash studio where I first record this podcast, or where I teach live or recorded for yoga classes or fitness classes. So at present I am a yoga and meditation teacher and a fitness coach. Um, and I am trying to transition from trying to migrate to Singapore to find better opportunity there for my family and not just for myself. I'm 40 years old, turning 41 this year. It's 2023. And so there's fear. There's a lot of fear coming from where I am right now. And for my contemporaries, so to speak, for those of my students, clients, who are in their 20s and in their 30s, that are getting worried about life, know that you're gonna reach this age still wondering what are have you been doing all this time, if you're doing right or not, or whatever it is. So the main topic, all right, the reason why I was swayed to do another episode for moving through fear is because of how mental health is being perceived now, um, in the social media, right? And this is, shall I say, um, the what's this? Is it the pros and cons of discussing mental health in the mainstream, or well, in media, right? And mostly on social media. So I'll be stressing on that. Um, lately, or since 2020, the mental health has been the buzzword for most celebrities, and not just the local and international scene, but also, there's the use or abuse, shall I say, of using the term mental health, right? So the buzzwords back in 2020, even 2019, were, um, what's this? Work life balance. Okay, that's one. Number two, it's the, well being, whether it's LB, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional well being. And I have been discussing again, um, throughout the podcast. And while this is just, only a few viewers or listeners, I really don't mind, and I'm not after. But yeah, I'll get there, okay? So there's a there's a what you call that, social media, or the internet, for one, was created, because we wanted, to establish more connections, and that was, the thrust and the tagline of Nokia, connecting people, right? And because the reason is, even if there's, back then, right, back way before, internet, AIM, no, AOL, American Online, or Yahoo Chat, right? Back then, Yahoo Chat or MIRC was, popular. You have the mainstream, you have, media, so that is, with television and radio and all sorts of things that would need this, what do you call this tube, right, that is accessible for everyone. And the main reason is that of these inventions where to connect people. I'm talking about internet and the social media. um, and here in the Philippines, Friendster came in, back in, I think it was in 2005 or 1999, about those, times. Friendster came in, and then Multiply, or MySpace was, popular in the US, because we crave for connection. And so it's like an online, um journal, right? So from being an online journal, that is the blog, um then came Facebook. And Facebook started out as, a lot of games for If you remembered Farmville, or even I'm not sure what's it called, um, but I usually play Farmville anyway. And then the pet, what's this? I think Petville or and Pet Buddies, I guess. It's like a, remember when Tamagotchi was launched in Japan back in the 1990 or 1991, because you wanted to have a virtual pet. And again, the buzzword was virtual, meaning to say online. And that's why there's that, the fear from the movies, just like lawn, yeah, lawn mower man, yeah. I think that was it. The lawn mower man, yeah, the lawn mower man. Or also, it's Pierce Brosnan. See, I completely forgot about it. But the main character, Jeff Fahey, or Jeff Fahey, I hope I didn't murder his name. But the reason being is that there's that feeling of becoming immortal through connecting to the virtual world, to the online world. And I think it's possible, or not. And I will not delve into conspiracies. But anyway, that's the reason, and that's why Back to the Future was also buzzing back then, from the 90s all the way to 2000s. Even for Back to the Future 1, 2, and the trilogy, I mean, is because we wanted to extend our lives. And because we didn't want to stop connecting with our loved ones. That's the main goal, right? Now, what happened was the internet, or at least for Facebook, YouTube, the main players for come 2023. Okay, so there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, right? Even TikTok has surpassed um, the searches, the preferred search engine. Back then it was Google, you know. When we were from using a lot of like Yahoo, or the different mail email providers, also the search engine, um, it became Google. And Google even became a verb, wherein you don't even use the word search anymore, but you use Google it, right? Whenever you wanted to seek. And until now, because the most stable explorer nowadays is Google Chrome, right? And it has surpassed Microsoft Explorer, Internet Explorer, I mean. And back then, that was the where it all started. Yeah. Um, but because of these main players nowadays, so the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, at that, TikTok, um, celebrities has have found the avenue to gain more attention beyond their projects, meaning to say beyond their TV series or their movies. And back then, we wanted a real connection, and that's why um, it's it would click if the viewers, the listeners, or your chosen audience would relate. Yeah, because back then celebrities or popular people would have this kind of mystery because back then paparazzis um, can only have access that much until you kill that celebrity because of what you're doing. Those are the things that happened, and so these main players, again, I go back to social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, um, have made their way to the mainstream and became the main avenue for people to gather, right? And still from the get-go, from the moment that internet was back in 1993, 1995 started, they have established connecting people, connecting or bridging the gap of connecting people through the visual media, through this, through audio, through everything that would um, you know create this sense of connection, sense of togetherness, of belongingness, so to speak. And that's well and good, right? However, now I try to connect with it with mental health. um, Celebrities, while mental health is good, that celebrities have found um, to establish it as a mainstream, to the mainstream rather, meaning to say that back then when you're suffering a mental health condition, it's a taboo or something that is not being discussed freely. It's as if that you have a disease, or and because this disease is unknown and not discussed freely, just like back in the 90s when HIV or AIDS um, were all taboo topics. There's that fear of not knowing, and we are no longer we are living in this information age. Yeah, yeah, in this age of accessing information here and there, whether it be through search engines, through forums. I'm again I think in the US or in different parts of the world, Reddit is a reliable source now. Um, or even the because of the proliferation of feedback, of comments from the real people, we thought of sources as reliable, or the that we thought when a thing or something is viral or something is being shared by many, that information is real and valid, and that was successful um, in the local scene here in the Philippines, wherein social media became the main channel for politicians or for people in politics to cement their their seat in the politics scene. I wouldn't again delve into that. um, I will stress on it was a good, you know, the how celebrities took it to the mainstream of discussing mental health was a good way for people in their own community or within their families, within their circle, to talk about freely. While it was good, there's also from the use, it can be misused or abused. How? Okay. Now I go. We now present in the present times, in the current times, what is happening. Okay. Lately, in the local scene, several celebrities, local and abroad, would use mental health um, to take a break or to take a breather from the scene, from the local or international scene, for their well-being. And while I get it from a person living with the mental health condition, believe me that we actually do not need a break. Meaning to say, that break of not being in the public for so long, and then you'll be back as if you're so bright, so fresh, and the reason being why um it gotten worse, because people think that it would be a good excuse, or even celebrities, well, a good excuse for being unprofessional, for being difficult, for being privileged or entitled. Those are the things that have become the norm nowadays, that when celebrities do not want to deal, either one, they meet at courts, what we saw in the US, and with the access of the media, the court has become a circus for them, right? And you don't know if it's real or not, because it will be judged, or the verdict will be judged by a jury rather than by what I guess, because rules are created by man, and so man will create this, will, some men would circumvent around these rules. But anyway, it's applicable for anywhere. But what I mean to say is that it's because of these celebrities who use the word mental health, well-being, work-life balance, that people think it's easy for them to make an excuse, to use it as one, not to face the real problem, and usually the real problem is them. And lately, celebrities, local and abroad, would use mental health as their excuse of guilt, shaming, or playing the victim, creating this angle of being um, spiritually aware, mentally aware, emotionally free, or physically rehabilitated because they can use it as an angle to become the victim and to redeem themselves from this ugly image of what they actually created themselves. And the other party would be seen as the villain because we are so used with the who's the hero, who's the villain, who's the good, who's the bad. We'll see that angle that that celebrity or that personality would be ruined also through social media. And it depends on the fan base whether you're really that popular. And with the different bots, meaning to say the internet internet robots that is accessible and can be paid, whether it be real people or generated by an AI, and that's another topic to discuss. Um, that's the reason why people are getting this mental health. I mean, is getting a bad rep nowadays, bad reputation, right? Um, and so I appeal to the celebrities to or popular personalities out there. Um, the mental health uh, has been used and abused for so long. Um, while thank you for allowing because of that um, certain abnormalities that used to be abnormal back then. Doctors, medical professionals have looked into it, and several tests they adjusted here and there. The spectrum is wider than before when it comes to mental health, and that is good. And that will also help in developing medicines, new drugs that would help people alleviate from their mental health condition. However, like I said, because of these celebrities that would promote this certain kind of lifestyle, that's the reason why there's also drug abuse and meaning substance abuse. Yeah, let me just rephrase that. As well as using that as a leverage for them to promote or you know, for certain cultures, cultural secrets like the ayahuasca. I go back there because um, and having this the term nirvana, tantra, and kundalini. As a yoga teacher, I I easily know when a teacher is just using these buzzwords for people to, you know, to get more attention. And while I do not blame them because it works, virality, using a buzzword, and that helps in the, you know, we have to break the chain of how we market it on the internet because of search engine optimizations. We use these strong words or buzzwords for to get more people to listen, to read it, to make it viral, to share it. While it is good and while it helps, like for this case, uh, I'm not sure if this will be viral or maybe it will not because it's already 39 minutes. That's why TikTok has been surpassing Instagram, Facebook, because from the usual 2 minute attention span, it shortened to 8 seconds or 30 seconds back then on Facebook, and now with TikTok, you have been doom scrolling, what they call, because you're enjoying it. The load or the dose of dopamine, that that hormone that feels like it rewards you, it will keep you, or it will help you scroll, and you see that time will pass you by, and you realize either you've wasted your time or you've enjoyed your time, right? So anyway, my point here is that as a reader, as a subscriber, or as a viewer, or as a listener of certain programs, or as a follower of certain celebrities or popular personalities or individuals, you make sure that what you believe in is still yours and not coming from, or you're not just an echo chamber of your favorite celebrity or personality. And you may say I'm a hater, because I am. I can see it, how people, just like what we use in religion, certain individuals, certain people, especially our, let's say, our elders, there's the reason why there's a huge decline in the use of religion in Roman Catholic, especially here in the Philippines. It's because most of the people who are helping the priests um, are the same mariteses, or here in the Philippines, marites is when you keep spreading lies, whether it be real or fabricated, or a truth that was masked by your truth, because these elders do not well represent the church anymore, or what they say the religious anyways. And that's why kids nowadays, children, wouldn't go to church, wouldn't listen, or wouldn't hear mass, because they see that in their homes, in their own circles, these devoted people are the same people who will break their promise and hurt them, whether physically, emotionally, or mentally. So, what's the use of chanting songs, hymns, or doing prayers if your attitude remains the same, right? So, what I mean to say, to sum it all up, whether you're a celebrity, whether you're an individual who, you know, has this what you call this, clout, or this what do you call it, influence, there you go, that's why there are influencers nowadays. If your attitude is quite the contrary of what you're saying, then why bother, right? Because, like what we said, you wanted something that is relatable. That is the first reason why fans would gather, would students would gather, because they relate to you. And that's good. But when you're feeding your ego and you feel that, okay, well and good, my there's a big influence of what I do, then you're completely missing the point. And when you miss the point, then you change your attitude of what you just preached, then you lose control of what you just used. Again, I go back. I hope celebrities and popular individuals would be cautious enough when they use mental health as an excuse of their attitude, of their behavior, of what they post in social media. Yeah? And make it a norm and make it acceptable. While some things are now acceptable, yes, I am all for it. For the liberation of beliefs, if we try to impose of what we believe is right, but in truth, we are the real culprits, we are the real enemies, then you are misleading your followers, your fans, your viewers, your students, your clients. So just be careful. That's all for it for me. I hope to do this on a regular basis, if not periodic basis. Maybe next week. I'll see you again. Bye for now.